presentation is Austin Steelman. He's a candidate for the Bachelor of Science in Physics and candidate for Bachelor of Art in History. Interesting combination. Austin is heading up to Harvard to do some graduate studies in history.
Law.
That's in law. So the title of his talk is Einstein, Sagan, and Cosmic Religion.
So, like Dr. Corley said, I'm a double major in physics and history, and I talked with Dr. Free, and he agreed to let me do something that sort of combined these two interests, and I thought I tried to do something that's sort of applicable to a setting like Eastern Nazarene, and I thought the intersection of physics and science and religion as it's played out in the last 100 years or so, especially looking at Einstein and Carl Sagan, would be a good starting point for that. So I decided to look at these two figures because they're good examples of the celebrity scientist that is a major figure, this sort of pattern that we're seeing, especially in the last 100 years, really starting with Einstein. And they take similar views, but they differ in certain ways. They want to approach the issue of science and religion. So the first thing that I think is important is an interesting critique of our Christian approach to science and physics and how we approach the theories that sometimes conflict with traditional religious views. Also, it's a critique of scientists and how they come at these questions with sometimes very much creative, religious, or philosophical feelings behind the scientific inquiry. And I think it's a telling look at how we perceive science currently. Up there I have a picture of the Big Bang Theory and just the way that popular culture views science as it relates not just to scientific theories but also philosophical and religious ideas. These two have very different approaches to science and how in the public. Einstein is very reluctant to sometimes comment on fields outside of his expertise and usually admits it and takes a fairly humble stance when dealing with topics of philosophy or government. Carl Sagan is not that way. He embraces his opportunity to speak on scientific fields outside of his own, on religious issues and philosophical issues. And in explaining what he calls cosmic religion, he explains this feeling and says, he looks upon the individual experience as a sort of prison and wishes to experience the universe as a single significant whole. And for Einstein, cosmic religion is something that goes past a religious institution. He claims that it can't have a personal God, any dogma or doctrine, or any institution. And he explains examples of this religious feeling that he sees in both art and science, pointing to the Psalms of David, pointing to Buddhist teachings, Democritus, Spinoza, and even St. Francis of Assisi, who's pictured here, who are these people who he sees as having a profound religious impact following various fields. And for him, he thinks that you don't need a professional clergy to pursue this idea of cosmic religion, but that it belongs more in the fields of art and science to try to reach this experience of the universe as a significant whole. Carl Sagan comes along and picks up this idea of cosmic religion, and I guess if you're going to put the analogy of Einstein as one of the founders of this cosmic religion, then Carl Sagan is perhaps like the first evangelist of it, because he wants to bring this message to a lot of people. And he picks up on this idea of the religious significance of science, but he takes some different turns in how he feels traditional religion and science should interact in the world today. So he explains his own sort of sense of this cosmic religious feeling when he says, I would say there's no deeper religious feeling than the feeling toward the natural world. And for Carl Sagan, the awe of science and the complexity of the universe is in itself a source of religious feeling. And he spends most of his career trying to convince the rest of the world that that's the case as